Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music. Prepared dissonance. Something you'll hear about a lot in music theory, and it's a simple trick to make your chords move smoothly from one to the other and to create really epic propulsion harmonically. Let's look at it today. All right, I don't mean to scare you. I've talked about this before. Johann Sebastian Bach's chorales are a great study. We're going to spend a little bit of time looking at one. Rejoice greatly, O my soul. All right, listen to this. We're in the key of G. And those opening chords easily present, starting over here, the 1 chord, the 5 chord, to the 1 chord. Love the way this walks down here, don't you? And the C sharp comes in after a moment. This D is being held by a pedal. Listen to this moment. G chord, the C sharp is the third of the A, but the D is a moment of suspension. We call that a prepared dissonance. He uses it later as well. The D isn't in the A chord, it's a suspension, it's a prepared dissonance because it was in the preceding chord. And then the A from the D7 chord here hangs out for a moment against the rest of the notes from a G chord. And that A hanging out, and it makes its way down to a G. And then the G hangs out as it makes its way down to an F sharp. So we get this beautiful line, A, G, G, F sharp. Well, Bach was a master of it, and when you study the chorales, it comes up a lot. But, you know, if we're writing epic music, we're using different kinds of chord progressions, different kinds of colors. Let's look at this chord progression. It's a simple 3-chord progression, and I have a few more too, getting gradually more, involved. In fact, the last thing I want to show you is what my teacher called evaporating or dissolving. He used the word evaporating. I've heard dissolving. Dissolving dissonances. Evaporating dissonance is a powerful idea for creating propulsion, but let's look at this simple example of prepared dissonance. See if you can recognize what's happening, and then we'll talk about it. So a G chord. Super easy example, I think, and yet really quite beautiful. As the G chord gives way to what will eventually be an A7 chord, this D, which was in the G chord, waits and then comes down to the C sharp. So we get a moment of suspension. That D is a prepared dissonance. And then just for good measure, I'm going to hang on to that C sharp. The G on the top is going to be falling down to the F sharp. You probably heard it happening. That's the 4th step kind of the chord, the 4th falling down to the 3rd. It's the same trick that we use to get to the A chord. The G prepares the suspension, the G prepares the dissonances, and then it falls down. And you get an extra spicy dissonance because this tritone, C sharp G, is the tritone that leads to the D chord. So from the A7 chord, the A chord, to the D major 7 chord. So the chord progression is G, A, D major 7. Let's look at another one. Tension, tension, and then that A, still there, but the tension releases, evaporating dissonance. It's a beautiful way to propel the listener's ear through the chord progression. It's a powerful, powerful technique. It's called evaporating dissonance. All right, let's go again. The first chord's G, and then this next chord here, see if you can recognize what's happening. See the D on top? It's when you put the tone on top, it's so much easier to hear. And my teacher would always put the dissonant tone on the top so that in class we were able to hear it a little bit better. But I think it's sexier if it's in the middle. But here it's on the top. A D is the fifth of the G chord, but here the the D is the sharp 11 of the next chord, which is A flat major. That A flat major gives way to E major, and the D is the minor seventh. In other words, we have an E dominant chord, the D's on top. And then we have this kind of wonderful moment here. I'm kind of hearing it as a, it sort of like reads like a B diminished in a way. And then that resolves outwards to a beautiful B flat major. Well, listen to the way this goes. G, A flat, E7, diminished version, sinking, but also feeling like it's still supported in this beautiful, elegant way. Did you hear the dissonance of the D evaporate into it being its major third? That sound, as Shakespeare said, is not for all markets, but it might have a place in dramatic writing or in subtle textures under a beautiful lead melody and in any kind of like sort of symphonic textures. These are great tricks for epic arranging and epic composing. When you want to use, say, chromatic mediant modulations, you're going to wind up with potentially dissonant tones, right, as you move from one thing to another, because notes will, need to be respelled or shifted by a half step. Well, if you hang on to a note from a chord, it's going to be, 50-50. It's going to be dissonant to the next chord. Careful preparation of dissonance and evaporating dissonance can create beautiful, long, arcing harmonic narratives for us. Well, I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe. If you ding the bell, you'll be notified when I do my videos, and I'll see you next time.